Americans can now apply for additional crisis relief assistance. The administration has announced and confirmed that hundreds of billions of more dollars are being put towards more financial aid for the people. New checks worth up to $500 have also been approved, so make sure to watch until the end to see how to claim this money. So many Virginia residents can get a check in the mail or money deposited into your bank account if you're eligible for this year's tax rebate. The rebate is part of a bipartisan plan that's passed through the state, and in this year's generally assembled session, the Virginia Department of Taxation website lists more information regarding those rebate payments for eligible taxpayers. So according to the website, not all taxpayers will qualify for this. Officials said that if you had a tax liability last year, you can actually receive up to $250 if you filed individually and up to $500 if you filed jointly. Virginia's tax commissioner said the rebates will start to be used and issued for all returns that were filed by September 5th. The plan is to issue 250,000 refunds daily. Over the course of the program, though, is the end of the year. The state expects to issue about 3 million more one-time tax rebates. Officials anticipate sending roughly 1 million rebates through direct deposit and 1.9 million rebate checks, so this is some good news. And also the application for President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan is expected to go live as soon as this week. Announced in late August, the plan will deliver federal student loan forgiveness to millions of low and middle income people. The Congressional Budget Office said in a report released last week that the student loan cancellation could come at a price of $400 billion, but noted that those payments are still very high and uncertain. So the Biden administration argues that the cost can actually be estimated, should be viewed over a 30-year time period, and to come out with its own analysis just 2 days later. It said the program will cost an average of $300 billion a year over the next decade and $380 billion over the course of the program, which we don't know how long will last. So individuals who earn less than $125,000 in either 2020 or 2021, and married couples and head of households who made less than $250,000 will see a check of possibly $10,000 for student loan forgiveness. And if a qualifying borrower also received a Pell Grant, everybody, the individual is eligible for up to $20,000 of debt forgiveness. Now, the Biden administration is actually facing some legal challenges to the student loan forgiveness policy, and borrowers are still waiting the final details, so things are just moving around. The Department of Education has actually regularly updated the federal student aid website with information on the forgiveness program. Recently, the department confirmed that borrowers will have more than a year to apply. The deadline will be December 2023, and the Biden administration scaled back eligibility for the program last week as it faces mounting legal challenges to that policy. The program will now exclude borrowers whose federal student loans are guaranteed by the government but held by private lenders. The administration has said the change could affect 700,000 people. The Department of Education initially said those loans, many of which were made under the formal federal Family Education Loan Program and Federal Perkins Loan Program, will be eligible for the one-time forgiveness action as long as the borrower consolidated his or her debt into the Federal Direct Loan Program. But the agency has reversed course after Republican states have actually tried to sue and arguing that forgiving student loans is actually hurting states and loan servicers. So
I said that I once said, I want everybody to sit down. There were no chairs. I never heard from the press. I just want to make sure you have chairs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Urban Leaguers, I see you. I'm Arlita Christian. I'm the Senior Director of the Health and Senior Services Department for the Urban League of Portland. I'm a mother, a grandmother, a wife, and I call myself a junior senior. I run a department that provides case management, transportation, educational events, community events, grocery shopping, and all for our seniors. We fight for our seniors every day to help them remain independent as long as possible. In more than 20 years of doing this work, I've listened to our seniors express their frustration and how they struggle to afford their life-saving medications. At times they're faced with the
For example, the idea that we're we're in a situation, if you all are going to, I'm supposed to stop, but I want to say one more thing. There's a school next door. One of the reasons why the United States of America ended up the most powerful, successful nation of the world is our legislators and presidents decided, Democrat and Republican, back at the turn of the 20th century, late 1890, that range. They decided we're going to have automatically available for everyone 12 years of education. Regardless of your education, regardless of your income, regardless of your background, everybody have free grade 1 through 12. Now, the rest of the world's caught up with us. If we were doing this today, would we say 12 years is enough to compete? No, I mean genuine. This is not a political, it's just a raw statement. 12 years enough in this changing world in the second quarter of the 21st century is enough. Well, guess what? We found out there was a 6 or 7 year study done by, I believe it was Harvard and Stanford together, determining what's the difference if you put a 3-year-old, not in preschool, put a 3-year-old in school, learning reading, writing, adding, subtracting, that after school. Well, you know what they concluded? That 56% of the children, no matter what background they came from, no matter whether they came from a house that didn't have a single book in it and mom or dad didn't know how to read, no matter what, they have a 56% chance of getting all through all the years, all 12 years, without any problems. Folks, not only that, we should have post-high school. Post-high school. And the cost of that is doable. Just having apprentice programs and 2 years of community college. Folks, look, I promise I will end with this. One of the things I didn't mention that Ron got done in the Affordable Care Act, in the legislation passed to lower drug prices, he was able to raise the taxes on corporations. Not a lot. We want to do more, but guess what? There were 54, 54, I think it was, American Fortune 500 companies that made $40 billion in 2022 did not pay a single penny in taxes. No, I'm not joking, not a single penny. And guess what? Now they're paying a minimum of 15%. That's paying for all of this.
Maine stimulus comes with an assortment of amendments, including a one-time $90 bill credit for low-income customers of Central Maine, $800 in heating cost relief to nearly 13,000 low-income households to cover energy costs, and $1,400 in tax relief for eligible low- and middle-income families and seniors. The governor announced this week that $200 million in household relief is on its way to over 500,000 New Mexico taxpayers. Taxpayers who receive funds through direct deposit are scheduled to receive at least $250 in relief in the next day. Now, these rebates will soon be issued out. Folks, do you think that President Biden will do more for the American people this year with stimulus checks, or do you think that he's holding it back? Tell me what you think in the comments below. More than 90,000 Connecticut households filed for the state's new child tax credit rebate in the program's first week. The Democratic representative announced this week that the applications from 90,000 households would benefit around 140,000 children from low and moderate income families. And the Republicans say that a new coalition of nonprofit service providers will help providers and households navigate the application process, which remains open through July 31st. State officials estimate roughly 350,000 Connecticut households are eligible to receive the $250 per child rebate, which the Department of Revenue Services is expected to send out in August. The maximum payment is $750 per household, and representatives said it will be a huge victory if 2/3 of those 350,000 households receive the rebate. It is available to single parents who earn less than $100,000 in 2021 and to two-parent families that earn less than $200,000. The full legislature and the governor settled this spring on a one-time child tax credit payment for $250 per child, up to a maximum of $750 per household. But the governor said that he would prioritize converting the rebate into an ongoing credit during the regular 2023 General Assembly session. Republicans have said that Lamont and his fellow Democrats in the legislature's majority are using the rebates as a political stunt to boost their campaigns, but Democrats counter that the rebates are providing needed relief when families are struggling with high gas prices and surging inflation. The governor signed a tax cut package into law that will send $1,000 for every child 5 and under to Vermont households, making $125,000 or less, with federal stimulus funding flooding the state's economy and boosting tax receipts. The Democrat-controlled legislature and the Republican governor agreed on something they're usually at odds over. Still, the party spent months of negotiating between competing visions, and a final compromise was not inked until the last day of the legislative session early this month. There was another blow delivered to the Biden administration with the release of a poor inflation report that showed consumer price growth spiked in May. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index rose 1% last month alone and 8.6% in the 12-month stretch ending in May. But Biden on Friday stressed that he is sympathetic to the impact of high inflation on families. During a press conference, Biden stated, "I understand Americans are anxious, and they're anxious for a good reason. Inflation is a real challenge to American families."
Please, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Zippy, and I want to acknowledge Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg is here today and knows a little bit about moving things, and as well as a dozen members of Congress that are here, and both Democrat and Republican. That's the good news. A few months ago, my State of the Union address, part of my plan to lower costs for Americans, I promised to crack down on ocean carriers whose price hikes have hurt American families and American businesses. And today I'm proud to say that we've got that done on a bipartisan basis, and you did it quickly, folks. In just a few minutes, I'm going to be signing the Ocean Shipping Reform Act of 2022 to put a stop to shipping companies taking advantage of American families, farmers, ranchers, and businesses, and to bring down prices and give the American people a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit more breathing room. You want to know why prices are so high? Well, there are a number of reasons having to do with Putin's war in Ukraine, disruption caused by the pandemic. But one of the factors affecting prices is this: 9 major shipping companies consolidated into 3 alliances control the vast majority of ocean shipping in the world. And each of these 9 is foreign-owned. During the pandemic, these carriers increased their prices by as much as 1,000%. 1,000%. While families and businesses struggled around the world, these carriers made $190 billion in profit in 2021, 7 times higher than the year before. 7 times higher than the year before. And they raked in the profits. And the costs got passed on, as you might guess, directly to the consumers, sticking it to American families and businesses because they could. Furniture, appliances, clothing, anything and everything that crossed the Pacific on a ship from Asia saw a price tag shoot up. And families and businesses felt the squeeze here at home. In addition, these foreign-owned carriers have also been refusing to carry American-made products back to Asia. That's the interesting part. That's where Zippy comes in. There's the Farm Bureau and others. It hurts the entire economy, but it especially hurts our farmers who depend on ocean shipping to sell their products to customers overseas. You know, I knew that we needed to take action right away and put a stop to these dramatic price hikes and end this unfair treatment. I spoke directly with the CEOs, and not just the 2 that are here today, but from the American Farm Bureau, to find out how it affected them and their customers. And I spoke to the CEO of Joann Stores. Wade is here. Wade, stand up so everybody sees you here. Wade McCollum. And by the way, my sympathies to the family of your